Who you got?
Oh, I'm excited.
Humor me for a minute.
Oh, I mean, that's what we do all week.
Let's say it's mid-June. Denver and Boston meeting in the NBA Finals. Mm-hmm. And I say when we make our picks, I got Denver. But game one rolls around, and I'm like, you know what? I think Boston gets them in game one.
In Denver.
In Denver.
Yeah.
Does that nullify my overall pick of Denver winning the series?
Not. Everybody understands that.
Thank you. So my Super Bowl pick, gentlemen, is Philadelphia winning it all.
Get it?
Greg knows that better than anybody else because he heard me say it and then came on the set the next segment and said he's going with Philly too. All right? Because he saw my logic.
Well.
All right, so I got Philly winning it all, but I understand they're not going to go 16-1, guys. I hate to break it to you. And so I got San Francisco winning this game.
That's fine. I'm just curious, why do you think San Francisco wins this game? What are the advantages?
Philadelphia, right, and we were talking earlier, the gauntlet that Philadelphia has gone through recently is one of the most impressive we've seen in years. You go to Miami, then they had, I guess, a brief respite. Was it Washington in between there? And then you got Kansas City, Dallas, Kansas City, and Buffalo. And now you've got yet another elite team in San Francisco. And next week you got Dallas. I think that to go through all of that, even just the first 4 out of 5, or now 5 out of 6, undefeated is going to be awfully tough. They've been playing tough games. They've been winning by 5 points, 4 points, 3 points. Mm-hmm. I think that San Francisco is going to get them. I think San Francisco needs the game more. I think they've already lost 3. All right, we get it stumbling every once in a while. Philly lost to the Jets. They stumbled 3 straight weeks. They need this game if they want to try to get the number 1 seed. So I got San Francisco getting Philadelphia.
Greg, you and I inspired Brew over the last 4 days for some real cogent analysis. That was good. The whole they're due, they're not going to go 16-1, fluff nonsense we've been hearing all week. On the other hand, while it did not sway me, was at least a compelling argument as to why you're picking the Niners.
Go ahead, who you got?
Well, you did not sway me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I am picking the Eagles.
Okay. All right.
And the reason why is because they understand how to beat this team. They're playing themselves. Like, these teams are more similar to one another than I think we even really can identify. But when you look at both styles, they got to establish the run and then opens up the passing game. For the Eagles, that's what they did in the NFC title game last year. They ran the ball. They knew who they were. Their brand of football was to pound you, be physical, and then open up everything else in their playbook. That's how they're going to beat this team on Sunday. When I look at what Brian Johnson has to do, it's just go back to that tape. When you beat them, because you weren't playing Brock Purdy if you're on the offensive side, Brian Johnson being their offensive coordinator. You're playing that defense. And the one thing you got to do when you have an aggressive defense is attack them. You can't allow those pass rushers to just attack your quarterback by starting the game the way they did against the Buffalo Bills, 3 straight passes, and think that you're going to find a way back into that game. No, don't allow this team to get out front because that's the way that they win their games. Yeah. If you can establish who you are, who we all know and believe you to be, and you don't even have to have Jalen Hurts be heroic, but if you just need to be,
so that's the X
factor.
So I'm picking the Eagles for a few reasons, but the number one reason is this: they're the only one of these 2 teams that can play from behind, and maybe they have to. If the Eagles get out to a lead, I shouldn't not get out like the first quarter, but if the Eagles have a second half lead, the Niners are cooked, absolutely cooked. If the Niners have a second half lead, it's probably still a coin flip.
Yeah, because the Eagles aren't going to panic.
The Eagles aren't going to panic, and their quarterbacks aren't going to panic. Also, Philly is rightfully annoyed at the nonsense that has come out of San Francisco the last 10 months, that they are the rightful NFC champions, as if Philly didn't hang 31 on them in the NFC title game. I think it was 31 in that title game. I do understand why the San Francisco offense couldn't work once Purdy went down. No one is...
That's a little nugget.
Well, yes, I do think Brock Purdy is
Was
better
McCaffrey
than...
playing?
Well, he was almost.
He was
to play
playing quarterback, Brew. You know what, Brew?
Right, he was.
You've checkmated me.
Trent Williams, was he there?
I do think that
Kittle?
Brock Purdy is better than literally no quarterback, than having a running back play quarterback. But listen,
rest my case.
I'm not going to engage in this
Let the
stuff we
jury
did
think
yesterday,
about that.
where all of a sudden we are tearing down the objectively great players of the Niners. Like, oh, Christian McCaffrey was 1-6 with the Panthers. How good is he really?
That's just a fact.
Right.
I didn't say how good is he. I think he's really good.
We do this weird thing where we tear down the actual great players to prop up the mediocre ones. I'm not into it. I also, however, while I think Kyle Shanahan is the best play designer outside of Andy Reid of anyone in the league, once the game starts, I trust Nick Sirianni's game management more. And I don't like Sirianni's personality. I shouldn't say that. I don't know his personality.
You already said
I don't like the way he... No.
It's so many words.
I don't like the way
every week.
I don't like the way he kind of conducts himself on the sideline.
Correct.
But the way he manages a game
Right.
is elite.
Let me ask you this quickly, Nick, because obviously it's not a Purdy discussion, but you've been on, you want to see Purdy late in the game, a close game. How much of it, though, is Shanahan? Because historically, he has struggled late in games with his play call.
Yeah, but I think that is, I think, in my opinion, one of the reasons Kyle Shanahan, as a head coach, has struggled so much if they are trailing in games is because Kyle Shanahan, as a head coach, has coached precisely 0 games with a difference maker at quarterback.
No question.
And so I think that it is very
when he
difficult.
had the difference maker in Super Bowl, Matt Ryan, he was OC. I get it.
And by the way, they didn't lose that game, because, in my opinion, because the offense melted down. They lost that game for a host of reasons, including a couple bad play calls.
We're off.
I believe the 3 best teams in football are Kansas City, Philly, and San Francisco right now. I think those are the teams that have the best argument. I think Dallas can get there, and I know you think Baltimore can get there, but right now, objectively, those 3 teams, I think, have the best argument. Kansas City and Philly can win any type of game that is played. A low-scoring game, they can win. A shootout, they can win. Come from behind, they can win. San Francisco is the one of those 3 that I don't know if they can win a game that is not played on their terms. So that's what they have to prove. And I know that will incredibly frustrate this side of the table if San Francisco ends up winning this game 27-3. And then I'm asked, do you believe in Brock Purdy now? Because I will come out here on Monday and say, as much as I did beforehand, because I know that's on the board. I know. Wild's so mad he's smoking.
I'm not.
But if they win 27, if they win that type, if they blow them out.
That to me will say a ton about the Niners as a team. But the questions I have are not.
I get it won't answer your questions.
It won't answer my specific questions about him. But to me, San Francisco clearly has more to prove.
I agree. I think it's the Niners. Philly's 10-1. I don't think they're gonna blow San Francisco out. Maybe it's possible, but I don't think they're going to just rout them. That's the only thing Philly has to prove right now. In the regular season, if anybody wants to knock their record and say, well, they've never won a game by more than 2 touchdowns, like them blowing somebody out is the only thing they could prove, and I don't think people think that's that big of a deal. But San Francisco, like I said, they've lost 3 straight. There are question marks about them. So, to me, it's clear.
Well, it's really simple. It's San Francisco because they're the team that was complaining about what they didn't have last year when these 2 teams met. They didn't have Brock Purdy. You're going into this game with Brock Purdy, and you're expecting to end the game with Brock Purdy under center. So you got all your pieces. You were complaining about it all offseason, about what you would have done had you had a quarterback. We're going to get this opportunity to see it.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.